Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, Hurricane Laura made landfall early this morning as a Category 4 storm with winds near 150 miles per hour. We'll take you live this morning to cities in the storm's path along the Gulf Coast.
Another night of protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin after 2 people were shot dead and federal investigators stepped in.
A U.S. district judge accuses ICE of purposefully mishandling a COVID-19 outbreak at the Mesa Verda detention center after more than half at the facility tested positive. This is Thursday, August 27th, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen along with Alex Fisher, and we begin this morning with Hurricane Laura. It made landfall early this morning as a Category 4 along the Gulf Coast. It has weakened, however, into a Category 2 right now. Yeah,
but still officials are very concerned about the severity of this storm. So for the latest on this, let's turn things over to Jay Gray, who is in Louisiana.
Laura crashing into the Gulf Coast early Thursday morning, the most powerful hurricane to ever cross the shoreline near the Texas-Louisiana border.
We are anticipating catastrophic damages.
From a major Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds of 150 miles an hour, gusts even stronger. More than a foot of rain in some areas, and what the National Hurricane Center calls an unsurvivable and potentially historic storm surge. At just 3 feet, the surge can be life-threatening. At 6 feet, the waves can smash through windows and doors. At 9 feet, entire neighborhoods can be swallowed. Laura's storm surge could crest at 20 feet.
To think that there would be a wall of water over 2 stories high coming on shore is very difficult for most to conceive, but that is what is going to happen.
And Laura will continue to wreak havoc as it pushes inland.
We could have 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts up to southern Arkansas, so we expect millions of people to be without power by Thursday evening, and then we have to deal with possibly even some rainfall and flooding in Tennessee and Kentucky.
This massive storm tonight, just beginning its assault. Jay Gray, NBC News, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
All right, sending it over to Kevin, who's been tracking Laura with the latest on what it's doing this morning.
Yeah, this is a live picture out of Lake Charles, Louisiana right now. You can see the camera is moving violently, and we even saw some lightning strikes a few minutes ago on this camera, so they are getting the brunt of it. In Lake Charles, they've picked up over 3 inches of rain so far with this storm. Here's the latest, and Laura is still a hurricane, a Category 2, winds gusting to 150 miles per hour. It is moving in a north direction at 15 miles per hour. We do expect it to make its way north, and by tomorrow, right around 1 o'clock, it'll be a tropical depression, but it still has plenty of steam as it makes its way through parts of Louisiana this morning. And when we talk about a Category 2 storm, what does that mean? Whenever we talk about a Category 2 storm, extensive damage, extensive winds between 96 and 110 miles per hour. We also have to worry about storm surges as well, and that's something we'll be looking at throughout the day. Here's the latest on the radar, and you can see the eye of the storm. This is going to move inland pretty quickly here. Lake Charles getting a little bit of a break. They're still seeing lots of wind, but most of the moisture is now pushing more to the north, and that will be the case as we go throughout the day with this storm. Now, in terms of rain amounts, you can see as the storm moves north, we're looking at between 2.5 to 5 inches of rain in some of these locations. So definitely this storm will continue to die out as we progress throughout the day, but still bringing a lot of rain and a lot of wind. We'll talk more about our local forecast. That's coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Yeah, we'll be tracking Laura all day for you. But new this morning back here at home, a person's in the hospital after being hit by a vehicle in Oildale. According to CHP traffic page, it happened just after 2:45 this morning near Olive Drive and State Road, just off Highway 99. The person was listed as having moderate injuries and was taken to Kern Medical.
As unrest and protests continue, sparked recently by a police shooting in Wisconsin, the sports world has responded with a big statement. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks refusing to participate in their playoff game against the Orlando Magic in protest of the police shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Shortly after, the NBA announced no playoff games would be played yesterday. The Milwaukee Brewers and Cincinnati Reds agreed not to play their game in solidarity, and the Giants and Dodgers game was also canceled. Other MLB, Major League Soccer, and WNBA games were also postponed. Now to the latest on the wildfires burning throughout the state. Around 700 fires are still active and so far claiming at least 7 lives. More than 1 million acres have been scorched and thousands of homes and buildings are destroyed. The wildfires have been sparked by more than 13,000 lightning strikes since mid-August, fueled by extreme temperatures and high winds. Governor Gavin Newsom says more than 3,000 people have been evacuated and set up in hotel rooms in an effort to maintain social distancing. If you want to help these victims, you can click the hot link on our website, kget.com.
Buildings across the nation were lit up to celebrate 100 years since American women were granted the constitutional right to vote. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution was formally certified on August 26, 1920. To celebrate the anniversary, yesterday, buildings were illuminated in purple and gold, colors of the suffrage movement. In Bakersfield, that includes City Hall North, as well as the memorial tree at Centennial Garden in front of Mechanics Bank Arena.
We have so much thanks for those who went before us. We celebrate the countless suffragists who led the fight, who led the struggle for women all over to gain electoral equity with men.
Yesterday was also Women's Equality Day, which is observed every year. All right, now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County. No new deaths were reported yesterday, but Kern County Public Health announced 90 new cases. Right now, more than 16,000 people have the virus and are isolated in their homes. More than 230 people are still hospitalized and 251 have died. A U.S. district judge has accused ICE of purposefully mishandling a COVID-19 outbreak at its Bakersfield facility. Earlier this month, Judge Vince Shabira said that ICE intentionally avoided testing staff and people detained at the facility located off Golden State Avenue. He ordered authorities to test all of those in the facility, and in the end, more than half tested positive. Local advocacy group, the Rapid Response Network, sent a letter this week demanding action from ICE, demanding better management.
Those that are supposed to be providing care don't care for them. They don't actually care for them. So they're in there suffering injustices, and now the COVID outbreak was preventable, but because of the way that they're treating detainees, we have this crisis of an outbreak, and now it can affect our community at large as well.
The group's asking for a response to that letter by Monday. 5:19, back now with education news. With Kansas State University dealing with students on and off campus failing to comply with the city's mask mandate and putting others at risk.
We have lots of teachers that are much older. There isn't a big substitute pool anymore for K-12. And our faculty, even at Kansas State University, are also older. So we need to take care of all of them. Otherwise, things are going to shut down really fast.
The mayor is calling out students for not following protocols. Last week, the university reported 63 cases of COVID-19 on campus, but students were spotted packing bars and patios shoulder to shoulder, most not wearing masks. The mayor says house parties and small get-togethers are also part of the problem. She says that 4 football players contracted the virus just by sitting around playing video games together. Along hospitalizations not preventing a Lancaster teacher from holding her classes, she figured out how to do her job from her hospital room.
Awesome, good job. Good job. Okay, so look at the picture.
The teacher has students sign in every day through Zoom, greeted with a welcome sign, calendar, and a whiteboard. She says there was no way she was letting her medical treatment let her miss out on an important starting point with her students.
In the beginning of the school year, that's when you make and build your relationship with your student. And I didn't want to miss that opportunity.
She was hospitalized 7 weeks ago due to pregnancy complications. With months to go on bed rest until her second child is due, she says she decided to just take on the challenge of remote teaching head on, something she wouldn't have been able to do had she been in the classroom. And I bet that's really interesting, seeing your teacher in a hospital bed. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. And making news around the nation right now, federal investigators have opened an investigation into the shooting of Jacob Blake. Protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, still taking to the streets after Justice Department's Civil Rights Division now said to be leading the investigation into the shooting of the 29-year-old black man by a police officer. Rustin Shesky has been identified as the police officer who shot Blake when he tried to enter his vehicle on Sunday. Blake was left paralyzed from the waist down. Officer Shesky was placed on administrative leave.
And police reported to an angry crowd gathered yesterday in Minneapolis after the suicide of a murder suspect. Authorities say it all started with a homicide, a shooting that apparently followed a dispute in a garage. A man and woman fled the crime scene. The woman was detained a little bit later. Police also found the male suspect, but police surveillance video shows he shot himself just before officers could reach him. Back here at home, a high school teacher was reportedly suspended after allegedly using a racial slur in class. We have received several messages that say a Foothill High School teacher used the N-word during an online session. But the Kern High School District did not confirm that specifically. The district says the teacher is from Foothill and that the district does not tolerate discriminatory words or actions. They also did not identify the teacher or what lessons they teach. The incident is being investigated.
Kern Mosquito and Vector Control is set to hold a press conference this morning to help homeowners deal with a pesky mosquito species that's been buzzing around lately. The Aedes aegypti mosquito can potentially carry a host of illnesses, including the ailment that gives the yellow fever mosquito its nickname, the yellow fever mosquito. Luckily, Vector Control says because none of those diseases are common in our area, there's not much to worry about besides some itchy bites and annoying buzzes. At today's news conference, officials are expected to talk about ways to reduce opportunities for the mosquitoes to breed and go over how to best protect yourself from the bites. We heard some tips yesterday, including empty and scrub clean standing water containers often. And if you're having an issue with these mosquitoes, Vector Control says it will fog your property for free. Just call 589-2744.
The Greek Food Festival will still be held this year, but it's going to be a little different from previous years, of course, because of the pandemic. While there won't be large groups singing or dancing or tables filled with revelers as seen in this video, there will be plenty of delicious entrees the festival has offered for decades. Organizers say details are still being ironed out, but the event will be held the first 4 Saturdays in October. Orders will be available for carryout only. Well, from our roadwork file, you can expect some lane closures next month as part of the 24th Street widening project. Crews will begin landscaping along the newly widened roadway, adding trees and other materials. All of that means that both the north and south sides of 24th Street between Oak and B Streets will be closed between 8:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. However, at least one lane will remain open in each direction, and you can just expect some delays. And you can expect all of this to last through the month of September. And Ford Street is closed for construction between Dunlap Street and North Stein Road as crews work on the new eastbound bridge for the Westside Parkway Extension project. That closure is set to end at noon today. Residents are advised to use Joseph Drive and McDonald Way.
Sunrise Interviews is brought to you by Valley Strong Credit Union.
5:46 is your time now. Hot and gooey cinnamon rolls, corn on the cob, and kettle corn. Fair food is just one of the things we're going to miss most about the Kern County Fair this year, but Teen Challenge is stepping up to make sure you still get your fix with some curbside fair food you can enjoy coming up for the next few weekends. So joining us this morning to talk about that, Michael Salinas, Director of Kern County Teen Challenge. Michael, good morning. Great to see you, sir.
Great to see you, Maddie. Good morning.
All right, I love this idea. This is such a fantastic take on how to still get our fair food fix. Why, though, is this so important for people to come out and support organizations like Teen Challenge? I know that the fair is a big source of revenue for so many of them.
Yeah, it is, and we've been a staple there for over 20 years. And with this pandemic, I know a lot of nonprofits, wonderful nonprofits, have been hit financially very hard, and so we're trying to think outside the box and do something new.
Yeah, you're still providing services. So while you are not getting the same stream of revenue, you would be getting the same donations from runs and walks and things like the fair. You still have services to provide, right?
Absolutely. We're still free of charge, serving the community. Of course, protocols and CDC guidelines have been put in place, but we are still open and active.
And why is it so important to make sure those services are still available?
Well, it's very important. You know, even now when people are nervous and anxious during this pandemic, you know, people are still out there using, unfortunately, and drinking, and we're here to help. And, you know, it seems like we get more calls than ever during this time.
Yeah, that's just devastating. We want to make sure that that resource is there to help people when they need it most. All right, so this is a fun way that we can help ensure those services are there when someone needs them. Coming up this weekend, you're going to kick off your fair food curbside pickup, right?
Yes. This Friday we kick off. Actually, it's our Fair Food Frenzy curbside fundraiser. You left out the frenzy word.
I love it. I'll be in a frenzy. What are you guys serving?
Well, we're doing two of our top sellers over the years, our fresh kettle corn and our fresh baked apple and peach dumplings, which are our top sellers every year at the Kern County Fair.
Oh, those sound so fantastic. Kettle corn is one of my all-time favorites. Okay, so it's every Friday, Saturday, and Sundays starting this weekend, right?
Starting this weekend from 2 to 8 p.m. We are on Eventbrite, Teen Challenge Curbside Fair Food.eventbrite.com. You can call 661-399-CARE to place an order. Kern@teenchallenge.org as well. Or you can drive up and get fast service and get some delicious food.
All right, and this is going through September 20th, so a couple of weekends in a row so that people don't miss out.
Absolutely. We're hitting it hard, and we're hoping that it can open up a stream of revenue for future curbside events for our program.
All right. This is such a fun way to make sure that these services are still available in our community. So if this mission of Teen Challenge means something to you, if those apple dumplings and that kettle corn means something to you, stop by and check them out. They're going to be at 301 East Roberts Lane. Again, you can also find them on Eventbrite for information and place an order there, or just swing by on your way home Friday, Saturday, or Sunday through September 20th. Michael, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
We'll see you at the Fair Food Frenzy.
Welcome back. 17 News is your local election headquarters, and it is President Trump's big night, accepting the Republican nomination and wrapping the party's convention. It's all happening at the White House. Tracy Potts is in Washington with a look.
The White House is describing the president's address tonight as comprehensive and straightforward. And his campaign says even Hurricane Laura making landfall won't stop that speech from happening.
With an elaborate outdoor stage, up to 2,000 guests, and fireworks in the background, President Trump brings politics to the People's House tonight with familiar faces on the program: personal attorney Rudy Giuliani, Republican leader Mitch McConnell, and the president's daughter Ivanka.
Ask yourself, has this president kept his promises? You and I know. The answer is yes.
Wednesday, speakers painting a picture of a president against racism.
It has no resemblance to President Trump.
Elevating women.
He confides in and consults us, respects our opinions.
Fighting coronavirus.
The president's effort for New York was phenomenal.
Republicans with a very blue message.
President Trump is the law and order president, from our borders to our backyards.
Capped by the vice president in a patriotic setting with this warning.
Joe Biden would double down on the very policies that are leading to violence in America's cities. The hard truth is, you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America.
It's horrible what they saw.
Biden speaking out after talking with the family of Jacob Blake, a black man shot in the back last weekend by police.
What I saw in that video makes me sick. Put yourself in the shoes of every black father and black mother in this country and ask, is this what we want America to be?
A stark contrast for voters as the Republican convention ends tonight. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
And Bakersfield Congressman and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is set to speak at tonight's RNC event, along with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and HUD Secretary Ben Carson.
And coming up tomorrow, Tehachapi is set to host a rally for President Trump. This is video from a similar rally held there in July. The event is tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. on Tucker Road, Highway 202. Attendees are encouraged to bring their own signs, posters, and flags. Organizers are also asked attendees to adhere to pandemic guidelines from the CDC.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.